Hello, hello. How are you guys? All right, so I feel so good, and I'll tell you why. Because I finally have my office decluttered. All right, I don't know if many of you know what that feels like, but it's been a mess with all my documents and all the things that I get together and put as research. Um, because I'm old fashioned like that. I like to have it in my hand, like that data, right? So if you are on the page, group, or wherever, make sure you share this, okay? If you know somebody that you love or care about, that wants to learn more about the IEP process and all things IEP, to be quite honest, but most specifically, that is lost and, wanting to do better with their process. And, I wrote down a couple things of people who joined my group recently. It's been forever. So I had 180 people. I'm so sorry for those of you on my group. Okay, I really am. Real quick, let me post in the comments. If you are on the group, you have to click this stupid link because that's what Facebook makes you do. All right. So if you want to make a comment and I see your picture, in the circle, then you have to click this link. I just put it on. So here, let me show it to you. So it's streamyard.com/Facebook. Okay. So put that in. And once you do it like one time, you don't have to do it again, but it's only for people on the group or on my personal page, which I'm not on my personal page right now. So I'm just on the Facebook page, the Facebook group, and YouTube. Okay. So make sure you click that. I'll just go ahead and keep it up so people know to, go ahead and click that. And I'm sorry about that. That's a Facebook thing. And we all know Facebook has sucky rules. So a couple things I wanted to tell you that people, the 180 people that I added today, which I need to hire somebody to do that. So anybody out there, if you're like social media friendly or, want to do stuff like that, I need somebody really bad. Okay. So parents are saying, I need to know my rights and, what my rights are compared to what the school's telling me. Parents are saying I need to know more of the laws. I need more confidence. I need to understand goals. I need to understand accommodations. I need more knowledge. I need more support. I wrote this all down today of people that joined the group. Placement was a big one. People said services, what to ask for, IEE tests. So, I'm going to touch base on that one on a live because the verbiage there was off. So if that's what that person's asking for, they're not going to get the right answer. To feel in control of the meetings is what one person said. I love that because it goes with becoming the CEO of their IEP meeting. Process for 504 or IEP or the transition to. Another person wrote writing goals and multiple in all these areas. Understanding rules of IDEA. Advocate for my child's needs. A parent had mentioned, and I'm going to do a live on this, about charter schools. Charter schools are a big no-no. Okay. All I'm going to tell you right now before, I guess I haven't been on the group lately. I just found out about this and I'm catching you live. Oh, welcome. So I will do a live on this, but charter schools are not great. Okay. So if you're at a charter school, I'm sorry about that, unless it's a good situation. And if I don't know how to turn off this notification on my iMac. Can you hear it? It's going to drive me nuts. So I got to figure out how to turn it off. But if you hear it, I apologize. Okay. So bottom line, and that's Aaron messaging me. Aaron, stop. Totally watching you on YouTube. Yeah. Quit messaging me because you just made noise on my phone and on my computer. So I got to do something I think I got to go into WhatsApp and I'm going to mute you. Yeah, turn off sounds. Okay, now anybody can message me on WhatsApp. Okay. So I will do a live on charter schools, but they're not great. Okay. The next one was knowing what to do when problems arise. I'm just kind of summing that up. So that was kind of an average of what people were saying. So I will be doing some lives on many of these topics because they're obviously topics that people within the group really want to learn, and it's what I'm going to be teaching. But guess what? I'm not going to be teaching on here. I'm going to be teaching on my membership, okay, that is coming out, and it is finally in its like last leg of things being put together, and things are always going to be added. But it's really exciting because, you know, my membership, you know, remember when I was telling you guys that I wasn't sure what I wanted to do because I wanted to do something different, you know? So many great advocates out there. You know, I have a handful that I would hire, but, you know, I'm sure there's lots of advocates out there that are great. And so long story short, I figured it out. Okay. So a lot of people are having memberships or, you know, having classes. Like I have my Rock the IEP course that teaches you everything you need to know about the IEP, but it's the basics. It's your stepping stone. It's what you need to know, like in reading, your foundation to be able to build, right? Well, my membership is going to teach you. It's going to be for everybody. Okay. I decided not to put it just for parents. I want it to be for therapists, speech and OT, and, you know, for teachers, for parents, grandparents, you know, anybody who wants to learn to become an advocate. Okay. So I'm going to teach you how to become an advocate, but I'm not going to just teach the law. So I figured out that to be and do something different, to do something that Raven would be comfortable in doing, and it be more of my how do you say it? Authentic self? Yeah. It's to do things differently. Okay. My mother used to say, all right, and I'm not embarrassed to say this. Okay, maybe a little bit. No, I'm not. Raven, I could bet $1 million if I told you no, you would do it. Anybody that knows me is probably laughing right now and thinking, I can totally see that. But, you know, I've always learned the hard way, you know, even with the IEP process. And, you know, but guess what? I feel it's made me smart because I've learned the hard way all the way around. And now I can teach you how to learn the easy way, you know? And so I'm not going to teach straight. Here's idea. That's going to come. Look at it like reading. You give people foundation, children foundation. They have to know what? The alphabet and word knowledge. Then they move on to language knowledge. And really it's word recognition. And then language knowledge and comprehension just comes. You don't learn comprehension. It comes from language knowledge, which is vocabulary. If you know a word and what it means, and you understand the word recognition, and then you understand the word knowledge, you're going to have comprehension. Got me? So with this, it's going to be, okay, anybody who wants to come and learn to be an advocate, all right, that wants to advocate for their children that they teach, that wants to advocate for their grandchild, that wants to advocate for their own child, that wants to change careers and become an advocate, all right? And I always say, go with somebody that you can, at some level, it doesn't have to be tit for tat or exact, can relate to, all right? So whether that be their story, okay, mine having been, 6.5 years of hell, of fighting school systems, being lied to, feeling like I failed my child, etc. Or someone that you are wanting to be more like because it's not what's within you at the moment. It's what you have within you that you haven't found yet, but you have it. A key thing to remember if you're going to do my membership, and I'll challenge you with this, is don't go with my membership if you're just wanting to learn the laws. Okay? I can teach laws all day, every day, till I'm blue in my face, because I've memorized them. Okay? And I know them by the back of my hand. I can tell you what page is what. Okay? I know my laws. Okay? So what? So what I want to teach you is the laws are going to come, like with reading, like comprehension. All right? I want to teach you how to turn on your computer, because I always tell my clients, go do it online. Don't go in anymore. Don't create that anxiety. I remember when I was driving to IEPs and I had that anxiety in my stomach of I would feel sick, heading to the IEP meeting. And I'll never forget that. Like all these things were going through my brain. I was talking to myself. I was, trying to remember what I wanted to say and make sure that I had it in my head. And believe me, when I got there, none of it came out. If anything, maybe a sentence or two. I wrote things down on paper and, I thought I had it all together, but then you get all discombobulated because that's how they get you. And then you're not looking at that paper anymore. It's almost like you're looking through the paper because you wrote your list. You feel like you're all prepared. You talked it over in your head and you memorized it and you looked at everything. You have your data in front of you and you can't even really see it because you're just so discombobulated with anxiety and everything that comes with the IEP. So how it's going to be different is I'm going to teach you how to go into that meeting and kick some ass. Okay? And I don't mean kick ass as in kick their ass physically. I mean kick some ass as in win for your child. Not win as in win a race, win over somebody else, but win for your child. When you leave or when you sum up learning what you need to do, the win is for your child's progress, your child's education, knowing what to do, how to do it, how to think quickly on your feet. That is so important. And it's a hard thing to teach. So it's probably going to be the hardest thing I teach you because thinking quick on your feet has a lot to do with you. And so I'm going to give you the tips and tricks, and you're going to have to practice and do it yourself. But the cool thing is you'll be able to come back to the membership, and each week, when we go live, you can ask questions. I'm going to have a Q&A. All right. And it's going to be awesome. All right. So that's how I feel I'm going to do things a bit different is I'm going to teach you how to kick ass in the meeting. I'm going to teach you what you need to do, what you need to say, how you need to say it, why you need to say it like that, why you have to be persistent, what you need to do when you pull back, what you need to do when you need to push forward. Why do you need to push forward? Why do you need to pull back? Who do you need to talk to? Who is it you need to address? How should you look at their body language in order to tell you how to talk to them? And in order to talk to them and that person or those people in the right way, you have to know body language. You have to know what they're doing, how they're doing it, why they're sitting a certain way. If their arms are crossed, are their arms open? Are they looking at you like you're just a total, or are they open to hearing what you have to say? So those are the things I'm going to teach you because I looked at it like this. Okay. I spent 6.5 years of hell not knowing what I was doing in the IEP meeting, walking into my first IEP meeting with literally a luggage full of, research and those big, huge 3-ring binders and, pulling everything out, putting it on the table. And looking back now, I'm sure they were laughing at me inside. And I knew nothing. I had my Google PhD. That was it. Taught me nothing in how to go into that meeting and get my child who needed help what she needed. What worked is I was enough of a you-know-what that I got her the services, accommodations, and all those things. But I just let the present levels and goals go. I didn't know that those were so important, and that would have guided my services and accommodations anyway. I had no idea. I never looked at my present levels. ever. I always just looked at services. Does she have a one-on-one? Check. Does she have dance therapy? Check. Does she have OT? Check. Does she have speech therapy? Check. Okay. There's my signature. That's what I did. And off I went. I thought I was so smart. And, because I was, not exactly, your easy peasy breezy parent, I thought I had it in the bag. Sadly, I did not. And I realized I didn't know what I was doing in the meeting. And I realized that the reason I am successful today is because I know what to do in the meeting. Now, does that mean I do everything right? Hell no. Does it mean I make mistakes? Yes. Does it mean that you're going to make mistakes? Yeah. Does it mean that you're going to say things that you may not want to say, or, things that come out all weird and not how you wanted them to say or hear, or, it may have come across ruder than you thought, or, yes, but you can't sit and dwell on all of that. You have to just keep one thing in mind and one thing only. How is it you get what's needed and appropriate for your child in order for them to make progress? That's the only goal. Okay? There is no goal in, let me go in and just be a nasty person. Let me go in and ridicule and make fun of and blame, and no. But what's misconstrued is when you go in, let me just speak for myself. When you go in and say you're talking to a teacher or a therapist or the director or whoever, okay, and you're saying something in regards to your child and how they are learning, and all of a sudden you're attacking somebody. No, you just don't like the question I'm asking. Because any question that's in regards to your child and your child's education is on the table. If they don't like it, oh well. You don't have to like it. I don't like everything in life either. People don't like everything about their job. But do you have to answer it? You sure as heck do. And so don't be intimidated by your attack. You need to stop attacking my staff. Shit, I get that all the time. I don't attack anybody. Am I forward? Am I to the point? Am I very clear with my words where it comes out very assertive, aggressive in some ways, just like I'm talking right now? Absolutely. But I'm not there to play games. I'm not there to make friends. I'm not rude and I'm not nasty unless I have to be. And that's if it's coming at me. So you get what you give. But does that work? Is that successful? No. So you have to, when that happens, you have to know how to dial it back at a certain point in time. But you also have to know when to do that. Okay? So those are the things I will teach you. All right? Your tone is what we hear in my, yes. And my tone is always what guides a lot of things. All right? And the thing is I don't care about what anybody thinks about my tone. If it's high, low, medium, soft, who cares? Let's address the child. Let's address what's going on. And let's move forward. Okay? So that's what's important. Yes, confidence is very important, Dana. Whoever this Facebook user person is, all right, definitely click that link above so I can see who you are. Please, what kids need to know or master both in ELA and math before they move to middle school to guarantee kids will graduate with a diploma? It depends on where they're at. So I don't know where your child is in order to tell you what they need to do. Okay, as far as grade level, you can look that one up. But as far as where a child is, I can't really answer that. Hi, Bill. How are you? Hey, Kim. Hey, Cindy. And Aaron. All right, make sure you guys say hello. Post a 1 below if it's your first through third time catching me live. Post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. Make sure you say hi. Make sure you tell me where you're from. So today, I have some exciting news. I am hitting my 47th state. So remember I wanted to get to 50 states from 2021 to 2022, and I got to 46? Well, today, I got to 47. Okay? So I'm excited about that. And the next thing is I want you guys to really hear me today. I know 47 states, that's crazy, right? I love it. And I need to go live more. What I'm preparing for this membership, and it's taking up a ton of my time. Getting documents ready for you, because you guys are going to have a lot of my documents. You're going to have a lot of those things that you need in order to go advocate on your own and really kill it, And when I say kill it, I mean kill it as in for your child, okay? So don't take everything I say literally. All right. So I'm going to read you a quote that I put in the title that I thought was great. And it says, a student's perception of the difficulty of a task is more important than anything a parent or teacher says. I love that. Because what do you hear when you hear that? Let me read it one more time. A student's perception, what they think, of the difficulty of a task is more important than anything that a parent or teacher says. Now, how I look at that is it doesn't matter what you or I think. It's kind of like with life, right? With anything, that even in IEP meetings, that it doesn't matter what you say or I say, it's what the data says, right? Well, the same thing here is it's not what you say or I say or the school says. It matters about that student and how that student is feeling and what their thoughts are and what it is that they're taking from what's being asked of them. It kind of goes hand in hand with the ADHD series that I'm doing that's going to be continuing this week. And, it's interesting because we have kiddos with ADHD that are just, I'm over it. I'm over how they're perceived as bad. I actually had a teacher say he's bad every day. Well, so I said to her, well, it's bad of you to say what you just said. Why is he bad? Are you asking him that? Why is he acting the way he is? Have you asked him that? Have you tried to figure out what the stem and the root of the problem is? What is it that is triggering him to not want to do what he is throwing a fit about? All right. And sometimes it's harmless. Sometimes we just don't think of these things. Sometimes it's just, we're so busy, and teachers are so busy these days that it's not always purposeful. And, I always say, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. We never know. You're going to know by that body language though. And, you have to really focus on what is it that's happening, that's throwing them off, that's creating sensory issues, that's creating anxiety. A lot of what ADHD is about is anxiety and those feelings on the inside that many of us, even you or I, forget about because we're so focused on academics and behavior that we don't think about the emotional aspect of what's happening. What I mean by that is that's why I can't stand, other than certain circumstances, push-in services. Can't freaking stand it. Number one, it doesn't have a high success rate. And if a teacher or anybody, in the district says it does, tell them to show you. Tell them to show you the success rate. They won't be able to show you. 2, push-in disturbs all the other children in that gen ed setting. 3, push-in services could embarrass the child. But if the child's not able, like many children with special needs, even typical people like you or I may not be great at expressing our feelings. So now you throw special needs into it, ADHD, autism, etc., and you're like tripling that difficulty of expressing one's feelings or what's going on the inside that is going to cause us to react. If you're angry, if I'm angry, if we're going to react. All right. If we're frustrated, we're going to react. Now, everybody reacts differently, but we're going to react. There is a reaction from those feelings. Okay. And when you are feeling that way, all right. So say a child, I have some kids that have said, and they're higher functioning, and they've said, I just feel so stupid. I feel stupid. I can't do it. Well, that is them telling you something. And, that is not the child you want to have push-in services. That is the child you do not want to have push-in services. That is a danger zone right there. Because that child is already screaming out to you and saying, I'm stupid, I'm dumb, I don't want to do this. This doesn't make me happy. And when a child does that, they're telling you in so many ways, this is not what makes me happy because I don't feel confident when I do it. So because I don't feel confident when I do it, and it doesn't make me happy, and it embarrasses me more than likely, and causes me to feel stupid, then instead, I'm going to go and have behavior issues and whatever it is going on that they're doing, because that takes the focus off of me in regards to being stupid, which is how they feel. Okay? They're not stupid, but that's how they're feeling. So let me go be bad. Let me go throw a piece of paper. Let me go, run around the classroom, because I'd rather them look at me like that than to think I'm stupid. Now that's just one scenario. We don't know what all the scenarios are. But that's one reason I hate push-in, because it puts somebody on the spot, and nobody likes being put on the spot. All right. So if a OT is going in and working with a child on writing, which would make sense in the perfect world, to go in, work with the child with writing in the gen ed curriculum, generalizing and working with them, et cetera, et cetera. But it doesn't work like that. We're not in the perfect world. Things are not perfect. Things don't just happen as easy as it may sound. All right, there's a lot of complications that go into special education and the way it works, which is why it's not a one-stop shop. It's not a one-size-fits-all, which is why I asked the question today, hey, you guys have all these different methodologies. What happens if none of them work? And it kind of went silent for a hot second. And then they said, well, we work with them in the methodologies that we use and the programs that we use for reading, within our district. And if that doesn't work, then we figure it out. Well, yeah. So if you have to go and figure it out, that means that you have to serve the child where they are, which means you have to deliver FAPE, right? You have to give them an appropriate, I always say, in the FAPE, A is the most important, free, appropriate public education. All right. We already know that they're getting a free education. We already know that it needs to be public, if they're not in private or charter. We already know that it's an education. So the only important word in my mind is appropriate. All right. And what's appropriate for you is not going to be appropriate for me. And so that is very important to remember. So let's move forward. So I just wanted to talk about that quote because I thought it said a lot in regards to my ADHD series that I'm doing, but it also says a lot just in general about people. Okay. It's talking about a student here, but you could just change the word student and say a person's perception of the difficulty of a task is more important than anything anyone else says. So instead of saying a parent or teacher, anyone else says, So do you see how that is great when it comes to a student's perception? But it's also great when it comes to just people in general. I try to always say that how someone feels is not something we can control. All right. So we may say something to somebody and it comes across as rude or crass or whatever. And it could completely not be the intention, but it made them feel bad or horrible. So hopefully that's communicated and we're able to apologize and so on and so forth. But children with special needs are not always able to do that. So when they're being forced to do a task, especially a non-preferred task, and they're being pushed to do it, then maybe threats are thrown out. If you don't finish it, you're not going to go to recess. If you don't finish it, then you're not going to be able to do this, that, and the other. Then all that does is cause more anxiety, more frustration, and you're probably going to have a complete breakdown at that point of getting what you want, basically, which is for them to finish the task, because you totally broke that down by threatening every step of the way, because you're thinking that that's going to create success of them finishing the task, when really them finishing the task has to do with how they feel about it. How are you making them feel about it? Are they encouraged to do it? Are they excited to do it? Have you incentivized them, as in, helping them realize that, once they realize what it is, then they're going to have, they're going to get everything else and they're going to feel better. And, all the things that kids that are able to dissect what something makes them feel. And then the ones that don't and don't know how to verbalize it, they still feel it. It drives me crazy when people think, oh, he can't communicate anyway. Well, what does that have to do with how he feels, or she, because they feel so much, they remember so much. My daughter was nonverbal for 4.5 years. And I'll tell you, things that she remembered years later in the time that she couldn't talk was crazy. And so we never know what their little ears can hear. We never know what their little ears can hear and understand. And we always have to know and just assume that they get it. And if they don't, then we work on that. But you have to understand that, how a child feels and what they think about anything, not just a task, is very important. And it will result in a behavior of some sort if they're not wanting to do something for one reason or another. And I'm not saying that an avoidance behavior is a positive thing. It's not. But maybe try to figure out what the avoidance is caused from. I always look at what's the cause, what is causing that behavior, what is causing them to be nasty, what is causing them to say no, what is causing them to not want to do it. Now, granted, everybody has those days where we just don't want to do it. It is what it is. Take it or leave it. I'm not doing it. But most of the time, kids are not like that 24/7. And most of the time, kids want to, do what they're supposed to do and are not just completely opposed to doing work all the time, and all the years I've done this, I've never had a child just never want to do work, so it's important that we just keep that in mind. So moving on to ways IEPs fall apart. You ready? Make sure you shared this. Our push-in services is called BCS, Behavior Communication Support. Hi, Donna Palmer. I lost the chat for the longest time now. I can't remember. Hi, Christine. How are you? Hi, Christy. What they do you say to teachers that only care about the goals and the objectives, which is good, however, what is the point if a child didn't process or understood? A little confusing in the question, but let me put this question over there and then I'm going to move on to go IEP stuff. So you have to figure out why they didn't understand it. All right. So the key word is process. Why did they not process it? Is it how it's being delivered? Is it how it was, basically how was it said? Is it that it wasn't shown to them? I'm visual, so you can talk to me all day about how to do a math problem if I was younger. If I didn't understand it, I didn't understand it. You need to show it to me. How do you do it? Show me how to show my work. God, I hated that. Anybody else hate that? Show me what it is that you want me to do. And some kids in their accommodations, Christine, need where the accommodation says that their work will be broken down. And you can call that chunking, all right, where you're breaking and putting work in different pieces and breaking it down for them in order for them to process it better. But whenever you have a processing issue, you want to rule things out. So processing is huge. You want to focus on executive functioning. You want to focus on visual processing, auditory processing. You want to figure out what is the cause and why it's happening. Because if there's a processing issue, that is a receptive issue, okay? Meaning what it is that's coming at you, what you're hearing, is not being digested. So everything I'm saying right now to someone that may have an auditory processing disorder may not be all processing for them. They may have to come back and watch it again. They may have to take notes. The closed caption may work better for them. Different things, because that's visual. So different things work for different people. And how people learn is key. And not every one person learns the same. And that does not make them any less than. All right. So just keep that in mind. Hopefully that helps. Okay. All right. Number 1. My child isn't receiving the accommodations or support in the IEP. What can I do? So that's always problem number 1. The reason why that's problem number 1 is because you need to know what to do. Okay, if something's not working and they're not receiving the accommodations and support that they need in order to be successful in school, then that IEP is pointless. There's no point in having an IEP if you're not serving them, and if what that IEP states is not helping them make progress and helping them grow and helping them learn and to challenge them. So you need to call an IEP meeting and you need to address the things that are not working. And if that means you need to go back to the basics and the beginning, which is evaluations and having the child assessed, and then you review the assessments and then you create new present levels in order to meet that child's needs, then that's what you have to do. All right. I always start there. Always. All right. Especially when no one knows where that child is. I never mess with present levels that don't have data as of recent within the year to support it. Ever. Because I would be it would be a disservice basically to that student. Because that would be me coming in and saying, all right, let me mess with this mess of present levels that I don't know is accurate or not. I didn't create it. I don't know anything about it. And I don't know where the hell it came from. So if I can't find where it came from, then we're wiping the slate clean. New evaluations are going to be done and new present levels are going to be written. If not, then your child is not going to have an adequate IEP. And I'll tell you, I run into a lot of parents that are lazy. And I'm going to call you out on it in a heartbeat because it pisses me the hell off. because I'll have parents, well, I got to get the IEP done. I got to get it done right now. He needs to have his goals and services. Okay, number one, no, he does not. Okay, he can sit doing what he's doing right now. He's already doing it. It already ain't working. So for 60 more days, it's not going to work. There's nothing going to change. All right, so what's 60 days? Nothing. All right, so what I will say though is we can look at the IEP and amend some things in order to kind of buy time of those 60 days and then address them at that 60-day point when we review the evaluations that have been done. But I don't get in a tizzy with parents or grandparents or whoever who think that the IEP has to be done right now. Because if you think about it, anything that you want done right now at this moment, like Raven used to when I was younger, then it's never going to work out. All right, things that are important don't happen like that. All right, it takes work. All right, you don't become a doctor overnight. You don't become an advocate overnight. Okay, you don't become a great mom overnight. And guess what? You still make mistakes along the way. So what I'm trying to say is starting over is always the better thing. Because what is 60 days? Nothing in order to get a solid IEP. Now, granted, that all depends on the team and how great or not so great they are in creating the IEP with you. You know, today I had a beautiful IEP meeting but I'll tell you, it was a long time coming. All right. And, you know, I have another one, same family member, same family tomorrow. And I'm like, oh God, will it please be like today? Today was such a breath of fresh air. We all worked together. We got the present levels together. It was awesome, you know? And I'm like, oh God, tomorrow we're fighting over reading. And I'm like, maybe because it's the same family. And this is what I'm saying in my head. Maybe because it's the same family. Maybe because, you know, the attorney was there. Maybe because, you know, they know today went so great. Maybe they'll just, you know, talk to each other and we'll just put everything together the way we want it to. You know, I'm like running all these things through my head and I'm just like praying that it is as good as how today was versus continue the fight. But you fight and you stay persistent and you don't give up just because it's a fight. All right. I hated showing my work. Yeah, me too. So one of the parents I worked with told me that the teacher said to her all she cared about was making sure the children make their goals and objectives instead of trying to make sure the child actually understands the work. Because what is the point of teaching child, for example, how to read if the child does not understand what they are reading? Right. Right. I'm just trying to figure out, Christine, how they're getting the goals if they're not getting how to do the work. Donna, what would you recommend when a child has a sensory weighted belt to wear, but they say the child doesn't ask for it and does not seem to be interested? He doesn't ask for it, huh? God, go figure. I wouldn't ask for it either. If a child has an accommodation, the school district is required to give it to them, not make it available. Okay? Oh, it's available to you. I'm just letting you know. It's available. Let me know when you want it. That's a failure to provide faith. And it's also written unclearly in the IEP, which is another denial of faith, which is when the IEP is not written with clarity and finality. There is no as needed. What the hell does that mean? As needed. I've done this before. What does that mean? I have no idea what as needed means. So get rid of that from your IEP. Okay. And getting in trouble. Why would the child get in trouble? Because he gets in trouble for playing with it and the teacher says it distracts him. Oh, hell no. The teacher and I would be having words. Okay. We would be having an IEP meeting and that teacher and I would be having words. I would be having a talk with that teacher on how accommodations are provided to students. Okay. And there's no getting in trouble for an accommodation given to a student. And oh my God, they were distracted by a weighted belt. God forbid. Oh my God. I would be distracted from a weighted belt. So, wow, a child with special needs. I don't know what your child has, but I'm just going to throw stuff out there. ADHD, autism, sensory based issues, whatever. Anybody would be distracted by a weighted belt. Now, it may help their sensory issues and concerns and dysregulation, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be distracting. I mean, the teacher needs to think again, or maybe change professions, or figure out what accommodations actually mean, and then figure out that the child has a disability and what that actually means, and how the two going together is going to maybe cause a disconnect at times. Just saying. The 60 days, Kim, starts when you sign the consent form for the evaluations to be done. So the 60 days starts that day as long as it's signed within a normal school day time period. So that's how that goes. But I'll always, kind of start the next day just to give them that time. So like if you signed it today by 5 o'clock, then I would start the 23rd. So 23rd is number one, 24th is number two. Okay. All right. My child has an IEP. All right. This is why IEPs fall apart. My child has an IEP, but my child's grades are awesome. Anyone ever have that issue? Are they awesome? Are they good? Why are they good? Where is the disconnect? Why is there question? Is the child doing well? Is the child excelling? Or is there a grade level difference of why that child is getting great grades? See, that's the key thing, guys, is we miss that. We're so focused on the child has all 100s. Now take a step back from that and not get pissed off for a second. I get it. And remember that more than likely what they're getting 100 on is not at their grade level. All right. Now, granted, we have kids that are completely genius and still have special needs. We're not addressing that. We're addressing children where parents are like, there's no way my child's on a 5th grade level in 5th grade. Not happening. My child is not there. I don't know why they keep saying that my child is making 100s on everything. That is not true. That is not okay. I don't understand why they're doing that. Well, that's because they're not making 100s on 5th grade work. And you just have to get to the bottom of that. Sure. It happens all the time. All right. Just like this lady right here. Make sure you click that link. Here, I'll put it in here again. All right. There's the link again, but it's also, all right, I put the link. So it's the streamyard.com/Facebook. Or no. Yeah, that's it. Do that. And then once you click yes, then I'll see your picture. But this lady who says my grandson has an IEP for speech only, happens all the time. Child has great grades in gen ed, etc., but has an IEP because of services. All right, that 100% can happen. All right, you want the teacher's input when it comes to if they're getting all these great grades and you know that something's not right. All right, if for some reason the teacher isn't helpful, then you need to go above that person. All right. Next issue of why IEPs fall apart is because the IEP is no longer working for the child. I can't tell you how many IEPs I look at where the goals have repeated themselves for 2, 3, 4 years. Haven't changed. Other than certain verbiage, just to kind of, I call it trickery, to trick parents into thinking that something about the goal changed. And nothing really about the goal changed. It was just 2 or 3 words. And, that's not cool. All right. Find out. All right. 80% is what's considered mastery. All right. What I did today for a student, because it wasn't something that he was going to be able to get to 80%, 80, 90, 100%. Okay. So I had them put in the meeting notes. This was at Texas. I do a lot in Texas, but it was put into the meeting notes, and then it's going to also be put into the PWN, because it was a request from myself. Okay, so anything requested, accepted, denied, etc., have to go in the PWN. Okay. So I requested that because it said 70%, because right now they said he was at like 40, 45, that's fine. So they said 70%. And this, oh my gosh, I wanted to steal this speech therapist. She was fabulous. Oh my gosh, she was so good. And she's actually one that kind of turned on us in one meeting and has come back around. But she's good. I remember saying she was good in the one meeting, and then she kind of turned in regards to administration, getting a hold of her, and then I lost my shit, and now she's back to her great self. But no, really, I don't know why. I did lose my shit, but I don't know why she's back to herself. Maybe it's because I lost my shit. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But she did a about face really quick, and she was great. She did an amazing evaluation. Even added things on what she thought could have been issues, and went into more depth, and explained that 70% was really doable. And so I said, okay. But I want it noted that the goal will not end there. Okay. So a lot of people think that once a goal's mastered, that you just move on from it. Well, if it's not mastered at 90 to 100%, you might want to continue it a little bit longer, even though that child may have made their goal of, say, 70 or 80%. I don't typically go under 80%. Hardly ever. But for this student, it made sense. She made sense. And I always say, if you can convince me that it makes sense, I'm game. But it's only therapists and teachers and providers that can convince me that it's going to work and that there's a reason that this is what they put. They got to be able to not be intimidated by my strong personality, which I think works to many parents' advantage, because somebody that can go against that, so for example, what you would call go against the grain, then you know that person is of substance, I think. Okay. I want somebody that is going to be able to, 1, deal with me, and 2, who's going to be able to hold their own. Don't you? I don't want somebody that's weak and that's going to fall apart. Oh my God, Raven came into my IEP meeting. I can't handle it. I got to run. No, 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 no. I do not want that person working with my child. No. I need a strong human being who knows how to hold their own and that can put their big girl and big boy panties on and get moving. All right. You got to be able to handle if my child has a meltdown. You got to be able to handle me. You got to be able to handle, my child making progress. You got to be able to handle, teaching my child and everybody else's kid. I mean, no, I want somebody who's got a backbone. And so I always look at it like kind of like my child's special education director said to me, and I've said this on a live many times before, and has said it to my child's team, where if you can deal with Raven, you can deal with anything. And I think that's pretty darn true. Now, I don't know if anybody else can, hold up against me. I know there's, a lot of really good advocates out there that I love. There's 3 or 4, but that's it. But I know that that's what makes me stand out, is I don't put up with bullshit. You would take it or leave it. But I'm not there to be your friend. I'm there to make sure that child gets what they need. We don't need to be friends. But like today, it was 100% respect. They thanked me and others at the meeting for working together and coming to the table with what we brought. And the teacher talked. Hallelujah. And everybody talked and everybody felt comfortable talking. And I was joking with mom afterwards and I was like, see, this is how it should be. All right. Nobody should be scared to talk. All right. Because that's what causes me and anybody else, like the parent, to question you. So come to the table prepared. Come to the table ready to talk. And come to the table ready to be transparent and be open to what everybody has to say and coming to agreement together in order to benefit the child. Because that's what's beautiful. That is what is beautiful. When that can happen and it not be this contentious, nasty, where you walk away. I don't feel good when, everybody's fighting. Now, do I mind fighting? You guys hear me talk about fighting. Okay. It's really not advocating. You do fight for your kids, guys. All right. But at the same time, when I say that, that doesn't mean it's fun when you're raising your voice or you're getting upset or things aren't going the way you're wanting them to go at the moment, or they're not serving your child, or they're offering things that are just totally bogus. It doesn't mean that feels good because I don't mind fighting for my kid or for other people's children. It doesn't feel good to have that kind of dynamic or animosity. But what will feel good is dealing with that uncomfortable feeling, pushing forward, staying persistent, and getting the win in the end. That's what I do. So even though it's like, oh my God, this was exhausting, I need a do-over. A do-over. But the thing is that persistence word that I teach in my course, oh my God, I can't even tell you how true that is. Stay consistent and persistent. Do not back down. If you know that this is what your child needs and you can support it and you can, explain why this isn't working and this is going to, or we need to try it because more than likely it will work, then you need to do it. And you don't back down or hide because you're not liking the feeling that you feel inside because things may get heated. And, I always say, you don't start living until you come out of your comfort zone. Okay. Once you get out of that fear is when you're going to fly. And that can be in life, that can be with goals that you have for yourself, that can be for your child's IEP. All right? You have to get over the fear. You have to get over being uncomfortable in that meeting and saying the things that you feel that you say to me, or you say to your husband, or you say to your friends, but you're scared to say at that table, or that you freeze up at that table. All right? I used to joke and tell my kids, just pretend everybody's picking their nose, you know? Just say what you need to say. Get it off your chest. Say what you need to say. Be persistent about the things that you believe are right for your child. We don't just, as parents, right? We don't just say things just to say them. Don't we say that to our kids? I used to say that to my kids all the time. I don't say it just to say it. I'm saying it because I mean it. You know? My two older kids, 21 and 26, you know, my oldest daughter is a teacher, you know, and it's funny because that's what I used to say, you know, I don't just say it just to say it. I'm not just talking to talk, you know, and it's the same thing in the IEP. I'm not just talking to talk. I don't want to just hear myself talk. I don't want to sit here for 5 hours with you. I want to give this child what he needs or what she needs so that they can grow, so that they can make progress, so that you can figure out what you need to do in order for them to make progress. And, you know, one thing, I'm going to move on to the next one. There's a lot of these that I've written down. So I'm going to cover maybe, where am I at as far as time? I can't even see the time. Oh, here it is, an hour and 2 minutes. So I'll do one more and then we'll hit the others tomorrow. All right. All right. So let me address something real quick. So many times when the IEP, because this is the key one, when the IEP is not working, all right, they're not getting enough services. They're not getting enough or the appropriate accommodations. Okay. They need a revision or a change in how they're being taught, because what's being taught to them is something that they can get, that they can learn. But how, I always say it's the who and the how. It always comes down to the who and the how. That is a t-shirt I'm going to make. Who and the how. Who and the how. All right. Who is doing it and how they're doing it. All right. The teacher today, we were writing goals and she was confused on a goal, on how to measure it. At first I got that gut feeling of, oh shit, if she didn't know how to like take data and measure goals, does she know how to do all the others? Like, this is a freaking problem, you know? And that's what I was thinking in my head. And then the supervisor, you know, the director was in this meeting, attorney was in this meeting. That's how it is. Come to my meetings and you get them all, okay? But I actually think that's beneficial, to be quite honest, because you have the yes people there, okay? The coordinator, okay, that usually oversees all schools, all right, they're usually called like a special education coordinator. They are at the district, but they usually travel to each school, all right? So she told the teacher how that goal would be measured, because we actually did 5 out of 6 trials. So, and it was in reference to sentences. So she was like, how do I do that? You know, and the coordinator had said, well, you're going to do 6 sentences, and how many sentences the child gets, you know, over 3 consecutive sessions, which is 6 sentences, 6 sentences, 6 sentences over 3 separate times. And than the percentage that we chose. So, but the percentage you don't have to choose when you have that, because the percentage is within the number of 5 out of 6. All right. And so that's how she explained it, is you're going to do 6 cents. And it took her a second, the teacher, but she got it. All right. And when she did, like, I felt better because I could tell, like, she really got it, where it wasn't where at first I kind of lost my breath of thinking, oh shit, if she didn't know how to measure the goals, she doesn't know how to take data, we're screwed. But she got it. And then I said, that was a really good question, because it helped everybody learn how that goal was going to be measured. And it clarified in that meeting how the goal was going to be measured, which all the goals were said to be for this student, 5 out of 6 trials or opportunities, as measured by data collection and written work, or whatever it was that the child was doing. And it ended up working out really well, because then everybody was clear on how those goals were going to be measured, and then how progress was going to be shown. And that is a beautiful thing in an IEP, okay? When it is verbally voiced how that goal is going to be measured, because that clarity is there, and the IEP meeting is being recorded. So, it's important that those things are said, because you can always go back to it and, not like oh, I got you on recording, but like, oh, remember in such and such meeting, we talked about this, this, and this, and then everybody's able to come together and remember that meeting, or go listen to the recording. And that's the great part about recordings, is not to be, oh, I got you on recording. Now, you have those moments, unfortunately, that happen, but that's not the reason to record. The reason to record, at least for myself, is to be able to go back and listen if necessary, to figure out what I missed in the meeting, or is there something that I didn't hear right, or that I need to go recap, that sort of thing. And, I learned a lot from listening to myself, believe it or not, in IEP meetings, So as an advocate, I've learned a lot as well, listening back, saying, I probably should have said that differently, or, oh, that was good. Or I'll crack myself up sometimes, but it's always good to have something to go back and reference. Okay. So another thing is, because parents have the right to call an IEP meeting at any time, and then they have to have the IEP meeting within 30 days, that gives you that time to figure out what's not working. Meaning, you can tell them that you are addressing problems that you don't see are fitting, are not working, and that you're putting your foot down, and that you're requesting, whether that be an evaluation, or, some sort of assessment, like, Ames Web or iReady, or any of those bullshit, computer-based assessments, STAR, etc. But bottom line, you want to know that there's some sort of progress, or something's working, or is your gut right? One thing that I can't stand is if you're questioning how your child's doing, and you voice that, and then all of a sudden they come up with these like 8, Ames Web or iReady, or all these different things to say, oh, look, the child's doing great. Those are the assessments, guys, that you got to remember are computer-based. They stick your child on 50 million times so that they get a good grade, and then all of a sudden they give it to you. So for me, I don't trust how it's going, That's right. She did figure out how to do it, Kristen. And I was glad. She's a young teacher. She's, I want to say 2nd or 3rd year. She's a great teacher. She has no problems voicing herself, which I think is awesome. So she's assertive. She's very nice. Hi, Noun. How are you? And, she was open to learning through the whole process, which, shoot, I want more teachers like that. Please have more teachers come like that, because that was so awesome. Okay, I would rather teach you from scratch. Give me the ones that are brand new. Let me mold them because she was great. And, one of the other ladies in the meeting, the coordinator, she was actually really great at helping, and she and I worked together in creating the goals, and everybody was open to them. Nobody was opposed, which was so freaking weird, guys, because the last meeting they were like, no, 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 no. And then today it's so weird how it works out, y'all. I haven't figured it out. Like, why 2 months ago or a month ago, you said no to everything. And then now you're working with me and we put the whole freaking present levels and goals together today. We just have to finish up services and accommodations and stuff, ESY and stuff in the next meeting next week. I'm like, why do we fight the whole first meeting? All right. Here's the last one. All right. And then we're going to do the other ones tomorrow. And I've talked about this one. Is your child's IEP based on inadequate evaluations? All right. Remember that case that I told you about in Texas? Texas is the biggest state, y'all. All right. So this is what's up. If in an evaluation it says anywhere that proceed with caution, they weren't able to finish the assessment, certain accommodations were given that the assessment owner does not allow for certain accommodations to be given. So basically anything that is outside the scope of how that evaluation should be done in accordance to the owner, it is invalid. Okay? I will tell you many times the assessors will state, the psychologists will state, I will say that much, that they will state, but then they say it wrong on the other end. So they'll state, hey, I had to do this, but then they'll state, but it's okay, we can take that information. No, we can't. All right? You just stated that you screwed up or you couldn't finish or proceed with caution. So don't go telling me 2 seconds later that this is enough. We got it. We're okay. We can put this in IB. No. Thank you for telling me you couldn't finish. So we sure as hell ain't putting nothing in the IEP. Now, let's backtrack from that. All right. Say they couldn't finish an assessment, but they could finish 3/4 of it. All right. Does it make it inadequate? Yes. All right. And if an IEP is created off an inadequate evaluation, then that IEP becomes inadequate. Therefore, that's a denial of FAPE. When this case in Texas went to due process, the parents won across the board because the IEP was created off an inadequate IEP, because the IEP had evaluation information and data and everything in the present levels that were referencing the inadequate evaluation that should not have been used in order to create the IEP. So here's where I am with that. And I've mentioned it to teams. We're all kind of on the same page with this. I've never really had a team disagree. All right. Where, okay, so you have that situation. All right. No, the IEP cannot be solely created off of that data because it obviously isn't fully complete, or it's inadequate in some way. So what do? All right. Well, does it mean that if you finish a race or don't finish a race, but finish 3/4 of it, that it makes you a half-ass? Or you did something for most of the time, but not all of the time that you were going to do it? Does that make you kind of a person that doesn't finish things, or that what you do is inadequate? Not always, right? So you may not have been able to finish that race for so many reasons. Okay? You may not have been able to finish whatever it was for so many reasons. So in all fairness, all right, you got to go with your gut. But in all fairness, if an evaluator is transparent and they say, I wasn't able to finish the evaluation, so I understand we can't go off of this, but I want to review the data with you so you hear it, kind of thing. I love that, because I do take some of that data to consideration. Not that we create the whole IEP off of it, no, but we create a lot of the IEP based on certain things within what was caught in the portions that the child did. Because think about it, right? Our child may not have been able to finish it. Maybe it got too hard. Maybe they needed more accommodations. Maybe the things that were going on, at that point, was just too much because they've been at it for 2 hours, whatever. So it would be unreasonable, in my opinion, and I think, school districts agree, because I've never had a school district be like, nope, we're not using it. Of course they wouldn't use it, a lot of the information, because you can't just kind of be black and white with it. So I listen and we take things into consideration, and then you're able to see where else in evaluations you're going to see a correlation of difficulty. So then you're gonna kind of have that support of, okay, that makes sense. Over here on the KTEA, it showed that there was a difficulty in the phonological awareness. So the child not being able to do that portion in the Wyatt, okay, that makes sense, because maybe they were just tired. Maybe that, XYZ happened. All right. So that's important to know, and not just be like, okay, you're a shitty psychologist because you couldn't finish the evaluation. All right. Because sometimes there are shitty psychologists. I will definitely tell you that. But not all the time. All right. And I don't, I will say this year, I've not come across, I have not come across many horrible psychologists. I've actually come across really good ones, to be honest. This year has been a success with that. And all of them have asked me for that case in reference to the due process, where you cannot take an assessment that is inadequate, that hasn't been finished, or says proceed with caution, or uses those words that it wasn't able to be done with fidelity. And that information can't be used in creating the IEP solely, because it's not relevant, and it's not adequate, and it's not a complete thing. So they've learned something with that. We've been able to come together with it. And, I was talking to someone today, and I'm going to wrap this up because we've talked long enough, is, it's so important to have that growth. You may be in a spot right now where you're like, damn, this sucks. And, this IEP process is like, I don't even know how to get through it, But at the end of the day, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Doesn't mean you're never going to fight, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And you will get there. Okay?
Mommy got upset.
Okay. Where is he?
Downstairs.
Okay.
Are you on the line?
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it. I'll see how it's done.
Okay. So what's important is totally like lost track. What's important is trying our best to come together with the team. But as you know, that is not going to happen right away, because unfortunately, they do play the games. Unfortunately, they do make things very difficult. Unfortunately, when you want those present levels to be as pristine as I want them, and to have everything in them that shows, don't give me all what the child can do. I want to know the strengths, I do. But I don't want a book of strengths and one sentence of weaknesses. I want to know those weaknesses. I need to be able to create goals off of the weaknesses. You have to tell me what the child can't do. Why can't they do it? What's going on when it's being done? And what is it that you're doing in order to teach them how to do it? We need to build off that weakness. All right. And we need to be able to work together. So for parents who are feeling like, oh my God, this is impossible. I do not know how to work with this team. They suck and they don't listen to me and I can't do it. I'm at my wit's end. Well, let me tell you something. More than likely, they think you're a joke. Okay? That's just the truth. So you have to get past that joke period. I call it a joke period. All right. So let me give you an example. Remember I told you that I walked into my IEP meeting, my first IEP meeting, with a luggage full of research. Well, do you not think they thought it was a joke? I didn't know shit. All right. I was a joke. All right. Look at this woman walking into the IEP meeting with a freaking suitcase full of 3-ring binders, full of research, as if I'm going to go through all that research in the IEP meeting. No clue how to use it. No clue how to take idea and flip it and make it about my child. Okay, so according to law 300.420, y'all aren't listening. Y'all aren't doing that. Is that going to work? Or is knowing law 3.20, and then saying, you all not implementing the IEP with fidelity with my child is a denial of faith. You all not doing that and ignoring the fact that my child has accommodations and services and things that need to go into place in order for her to learn is a violation of idea and faith. Do you see the difference? According to law, Or do I say, forget the numbers and just state the law? You're not doing this and providing this. That's how things have to be presented. That's how they have to be approached. And that's what you have to have, and also be able to back it up. And that doesn't mean you always have to have data to back it up, because if you can talk, you can what? Use my PPPN system. Plan, prepare, present, persuade, and negotiate. You cannot present and persuade if you don't plan and prepare right. And if you present it in the right way, persuasion comes easy. All right? This is going to work. We need to try this. We don't know if it's going to work, but we haven't tried it yet. Everything within the IEP is this great big question mark. Is it going to work? Is it not? Oh my God. There's all these things that have to go into play. And, is my child going to make progress? Is my child going to, learn? Right? So just stay focused and know that things don't happen overnight. If they're not taking you seriously, get an advocate or an attorney, please. Because if they're not taking you seriously, they think you're a joke. You're way past the point of them listening to you. It's not going to happen. You're at a disconnect. All right? You need somebody, whether that's an advocate or an attorney or whatever it is you need, to bring things back together. You need someone to ruffle the feathers in order to let those feathers go away. And then you get to work. When you ruffle feathers, feathers fall off. Feathers fall off, then you get to work because you're starting fresh. Okay? Let those feathers go. So that's what we're going to be discussing tomorrow. It's more about the feathers. And we're going to continue why IEPs fall apart. And we're going to touch a little bit on ADHD. And I'm going to give you some really great accommodations for students with ADHD. And then if you want more accommodations, you always can get my mini course, okay, which is the Services, Accommodations, and Modifications course, $47. Comes free with the big course, and then go from there, okay? So I see many of you have questions. I will be answering them for anything. You're welcome. Whoever said thank you, you're so welcome. One goal, huh? That's crazy. At least she figured out how to do it. Yes, Kristen. Yeah. Yeah, I know now, and I gotta go live more. I've just been swamped with clients, and then putting this membership together. It's been a lot of work. Of just getting documents and stuff together, which they're coming together, and things are going to be added all the time. So it's not like, and I'm just OCD, like that type A personality where I'm like, I want to have it all done. And, but in reality, it does not have to all be done. So the cool thing about the membership is, it's monthly. You can, come or go. But things are always going to be added. You'll have the written copy to do a FERPA request. You'll have the written copies of, different emails that you're going to want to write. And, the resources of how you approach things and, all of those different things. So, it's going to be very beneficial, but honestly, come to the table ready to learn to kick some butt in what to do in that meeting. All right. And, one of the exciting things other than teaching parents is teachers. Is you would be surprised how many teachers, want to either become advocates or, advocate more for their kiddos while they're working, but a lot of teachers want to change kind of careers. And, one of the things you need to know is that you don't have to have any type of education. You could have nothing but a GED out of high school. You literally just have to have a love of children and them having success, and children with special needs, and being committed to studying and learning every day. I'm always learning something new. I'm never opposed to something new falling on my plate or someone telling me something new. You never, ever want to have the attitude of know it all. You need to be able to be strong and yet humble at the same time. Humble in the fact that if you make a mistake, own it and move on, even if they don't. And really, it's just that. And the only thing else that I can't teach you is passion. Is you have to have passion. Is because I can teach you how to have a love for what it is that you do, but you can love something all you want, but you know how they say love isn't enough. You have to have that passion. There's got to be some substance behind why you're doing what you're doing. You have to have the why. What is your why? And your why isn't, oh, I really want to help kids. That's not a why. Go listen to Simon Sinek on how to come up with your why. All right? Your why is that gut, inner feeling of, I want to do this because, like that vision board of why. You know, what is it that you're going to get out of doing this? You know, before I came on here, I got my chili that is now cold. And I spoke with a lady in Mississippi, which is my 47th state. And she got my name. She didn't remember who, and I wish she did, because I wanted to say thank you. And she, you know, a friend of hers, she went on COPA and someone mentioned me, and then she was told to go on a group, not mine. And someone on there said, you need Raven. She helped me get my IEP together last year, and I've never had a problem since. And she didn't know the person's name. So I couldn't say thank you or who was that or anything like that. But that's why I do what I do, you know, is wow, you know, this person just gave my name out. I have no idea who they were. And they haven't had to deal with more issues like the hell that more than likely they were going through. And so that's what teaching you what to do in an IEP meeting. And the cool thing too is you'll be able to bring to the table during our Q&A things that are happening to you right now, or things that you're hearing about, or that sort of thing. And then getting the tips and tricks, not tricks as in like tricks, but tricks of things, you know, your smorgasbord of things of what you need to do to be successful for the child. Okay? You're successful only if the child is. And you're only successful if that child can make progress. If not, you need to go back to the table and fix it. And you have to realize that that's the way it works, is you go back to the table and fix it. You don't accept something because you feel like that's all you're going to get. Kind of like that, well, I don't think I can do any better. Do not become an advocate. Don't. All right? There's no, oh, this is as good as it's going to get. No. You do whatever the hell you got to do to get them the best, you know? And granted, best is not a word you can use in IEP verbiage. It has to be what's needed and appropriate. But shit, how I tell people is you act and say it's needed and appropriate, but you know what's best, you know? So in your mind, you're like, I know what's best, but I got to say it's needed and appropriate. It's needed and appropriate. It's needed and appropriate. You just got to like sing it's needed and appropriate when really it's what's best, you know? And you just got to get that mentality of, I want what's best. I just got to change my words. No, but seriously, you just got to have passion. Okay? All right. Yes, now I am going to be doing a mentorship, a membership, where you're going to be able to get the resources you need, learn what you need to learn to become an advocate for yourself, and to maybe even pay it forward one day and teach someone else, and go from there. But it's been an hour and a half, y'all, so I'm not going to keep you any longer. But I will talk to you tomorrow. I will be going live, and I will be finishing, you know, a bunch of the mistakes from IEPs and why IEPs kind of fall apart. We'll talk a little bit about ADHD because we're continuing a series on that. And we're going to focus on different strategies and supports for ADHD. Okay. So, yeah, message me. So one of the things that is key is knowing the strategies and supports that your child needs in order to be successful. All right. You have to click notifications now. I don't know if somebody can help her with that. Like, I'm bad at that. Like, where you go with the page or the group. I'll have to figure it out. But you guys got this. You do. Okay. You got to have faith in yourself. I know so many people right now feel like, oh my God, I can't get anywhere. And don't get me wrong. We feel that way too. Even successful advocates, meaning successful as in we win for the kids, we get down too, So it's not always the easiest career. It's hard. You break down sometimes. You guys have seen me break down. You need to just let it out sometimes, and it is what it is. I'm okay with letting it out. I'm okay with crying. I'm not embarrassed to cry. And, I know some people are, and I get that, but maybe it's my age. I'm going to be 46 this year. Holy hell. And, I don't know. I'm okay with being emotional because this is an emotional job. I'm going to post this. I'm not sure who said I need your services, but a good place to reach me is on WhatsApp. So I'm not sure what it's going to post. Sometimes it's like funny. So let me see. There we go. So it kind of did it in two different things. Here's the link on WhatsApp. So see how it has that? Here's what you do. So let me post the rest. So weird how it posts on here. All right. You download WhatsApp, and here's the link. You sign up through Facebook or through your email, and then here is the link. All right. So you download WhatsApp, you sign up through your email or Facebook, and then you click that link. That's it. Worst case, message me on Messenger and I'll send you the information. But I am taking on more clients come mid-March. I know ESY is coming very quickly, and I know many of you are going to be fighting for that. You should. You don't want to fall for this is what we offer, 4 hours a day, blah, blah, blah. This is what you get, 9 to 1. That's it. It's individualized. Okay. So mid-March, I'll have 4, maybe 5 spots open. I'm trying to get through what I'm getting through now, but it'll probably be around 4 spots open. And you just got to be patient with me. But, message me now so I can get you the information. I will get you what you need to get me, and we'll hit it come March. Okay? The middle and March. But just get going now with the preliminary, because there's quite a bit of stuff that you're going to have to get me. So that's that. And the membership's coming about that time as well. And we'll get this moving. So the cool part about the membership is that you're going to be able to start it now. You have all through the summer, kind of the learn a ton and go from there. Okay? Because you guys can do this. All right, guys, have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful evening. And I will see you tomorrow. Somebody asked about what time. Girl, I don't know. But I have an IEP meeting. I can tell you this. This is what I will tell you. I have an IEP meeting tomorrow from 10 to 1. All right. And then I have some appointments. So, with that said, it is probably going to be tomorrow night. Okay. It's going to be tomorrow night. So, you guys got to come join me tomorrow night. Make sure you click notifications, and I will see you tomorrow night. Let's just say tomorrow night. Okay. Like around 7. Okay. Eastern Standard Time. All right. So hopefully that helps. I happened to log in tonight and cut you live. All right. Perfect. All right. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.